Welcome to live seminar. So, so since you come to the live seminar, then we're doing the short chapter. So if like anything that you don't understand, you want me to repeat, just let me know lah, so that I will explain until you understand. Because this chapter is one of the potential essay this year. Yeah, because many years didn't appear in SPM. Then under the new syllabus, Form 4 chapter might be the last essay this year. Okay, so we'll go through this one. So because we have very limited time, so I only focus on those important questions, but I'm more on teaching to make sure you remember all the shortcut, all that. Then from there we go through lah. Okay, so first thing, for the short chapter, right, the main thing that you need to be very good is you must know that a chemical is soluble or not soluble. This one very important because most of the chemical tests, all that is all related to whether soluble or not insoluble. So we see, if you look at the here solubility in water. Now any chemical that with sodium, potassium, ammonium, nitrate, you'll be all soluble. Means anything with all these will be automatic soluble. So how to remember? You can using SPEN. Is all soluble. Means anything with sodium, potassium, ammonium, nitrate will be all soluble. Okay, because if they come out keep up question, right, they'll twist around in this part, whether soluble or insoluble. If soluble, you get a solution. You see, if soluble, you get solution. If insoluble, you get a precipitate or solid is formed. The short notes are given in seminar also very short one because but got detail lah. So it's not a full notes because it's going to be very thick, but and then too many things for you to go through. So very tough. So I go to all the essential notes now. Okay, so anything with SPN means you can see here, anything with nitrate, no matter is zinc nitrate, aluminum nitrate, PB nitrate, calcium nitrate, magnesium nitrate, copper nitrate, is all soluble. Okay, it's all soluble here. Then anything with SPN, so anything with sodium, potassium, ammonium, also all soluble. So technically, this is like whenever you see sodium, straight away soluble, no matter who is the chemical. Even later you go to Form 4, Chapter 3, 4, 5, right? You see a lot of different chemical name that started with sodium, straight away is soluble. And you see very complicated chemical with sodium, is also soluble. So it's just sodium, potassium, ammonium, very frequent in the short chapter. Okay, so this is the part. Okay, then second part, now got soluble means got insoluble ma. So here everything with carbonate, CO3, O and OH will be insoluble. So we can use this example. COOH insoluble. COOH means what? COOH means the CO is carbonate. Then O is oxide. Then OH is hydroxide. So these three will be the insoluble. Okay, so technically you can see anything with oxide, acid spa means if you cannot SPA, sodium, potassium, ammonia, is still soluble. Anything with hydroxide, this one very important basic. If your solubility very good, then you realize that later everything become very simple. But if your solubility not good, right, later a lot of tests you actually try to half out rather than understand. So if you understand, then very easy, all the tests you will start to like this, because come up precipitate, because insoluble, like this. Okay, so this is the main one. Then after that, we will go through the next one. The next one will be okay, these two will be most of them soluble except. So how to remember is very simple. This one, for chloride, is all soluble except Persatuan Agama Hindu. You can think like this lah. C stand for curry. Okay, C stand for curry. So who is not soluble? PbCl, AgCl, HgCl is not soluble. These are some special tests that you need to know lah. Then for sulfate, same thing. So sulfate, right, all soluble also, except persatuan bahasa Cina. Not soluble. You can think about soup. S, you remember soup is these three not soluble. PbSO4, BsO4, and CaSO4. We will keep using this shortcut later to explain all the chemical tests, everything here. Yeah, so this is the first one. Yeah, so you can write down so for this side, right? Who is not soluble? Persatuan. Soup is Persatuan Bahasa Cina. So Ca, and then where is my bahasa? Okay, here. Then chloride, who is not soluble? Persatuan Agama Hindu. So the rest soluble. This one normally sulfate and chloride, they come out a lot. This one you need to like memorize who is not soluble. So you have 3 that not soluble here. You have 3 that not soluble here. Okay, so this is the part that you have to know lah. Okay, so we'll keep practicing this part. Okay, so this one must be, so I go through here. Just roughly let you go through here. You see, anything with SPAN will be soluble. So anything with sodium, potassium, ammonium, and nitrate will be soluble. So you can see now, sodium, nitrate, potassium, sodium, ammonium, nitrate, sodium, nitrate, ammonium. All this I highlighted is soluble. Anything with K, anything with Na, anything with NO3, anything with NH4 will be soluble. Okay, all this soluble. I think it's how you decide. Whenever you see this 4, because this is very important, because you need to know whether it's a solution or a precipitate that come up as a product. Okay, then the next one we have to check now, which is anything with COOH will be insoluble. So anything with carbonate, then oxide, and then hydroxide will be insoluble. So now you check for the second one. Carbonate. Most of that is carbonate, because oxide and hydroxide is not salt. That's why you weren't able to see oxide and hydroxide. But oxide and hydroxide later I will do a lot lah, because we will need to. So all this carbonate is insoluble. Okay, so this is the insoluble part. Okay, now the remaining will be who? The remaining will be these 2, chloride and sulfate. So for chloride, all soluble except Persatuan Agama Hindu, not soluble. So we check all the chloride. This one soluble, not Persatuan Agama Hindu. This one Persatuan Agama Hindu cannot. Then this one Agama cannot. Then Hindu cannot. Then after that, calcium can, magnesium can. Who else is correct? Zinc chloride is okay. Okay, then the last one is the sulfate. SO4 is all soluble except Persatuan Bahasa Cina. Not soluble. So now you check one by one. This is Cina, not soluble. Then who else? Copper, soluble. Then Persatuan, not soluble. Then Bahasa, not soluble. then zinc soluble, Mg soluble, Fe soluble. So this is the roughly, these exercises roughly let you know how to reuse your shortcut. Then we'll keep using this shortcut for the rest of the lesson. Okay, so this is the brief idea. Okay, so this is a brief idea first. Then now we go for prepare sort. Okay, we will do some exercise on the prepare sort. But normally school exam prepare sort, they'll come out very simple question and maybe they give you like few marks only. So I'll roughly go through first. Now prepare sort, right? Is this. First one is if you want to prepare, you will divide them into soluble salt and insoluble salt. Okay, soluble salt and insoluble salt. So we started with insoluble salt first. To prepare insoluble salt, the method we call, the reaction we call double decomposition reaction. Double decomposition reaction. So we'll go through the detail there. Let me see. This is under third method. Can you all go to the page? What page is there? Page 8. Okay, page 8. Okay, now to prepare an insoluble salt. So for example, I want to prepare barium sulfate. Now, barium sulfate is insoluble. Why? SO4 2 minus who is not all soluble except persatuan bahasa Cina. So this one will be insoluble. So my barium sulfate is insoluble salt. So to prepare insoluble, the idea is very simple. To prepare insoluble salt, you need to use soluble thing. You see, to prepare insoluble salt, you have to use soluble terbalik. Why? So that if you use soluble, right, insoluble and soluble, you can be separated. If you both use insoluble, cannot have reaction because it has reaction, but you're unable to separate them. So soluble and insoluble, you use insoluble to prepare insoluble salt. So using this idea, the one that we know that is insoluble, which is your SPAN. We know that SPAN always soluble. So this is how you use the shortcut. That first BA and nitrate. Okay, pair them with SPAN. So you can see here, all is nitrate. Then after that, pair with SPA with sulfate. Sodium, potassium, ammonium. So this is your SPA, sodium, potassium, ammonium, like this. Either one of them you can use. So you see all this, right, you're able to get the solid here. Because this is soluble salt, so it's a solution. The product come out also solution. So in this case, to take out this chemical, very simple, you just filter out this thing. Because this is insoluble salt. BaSO4 is insoluble, you just filter out. So you can see, I'll give you some example here. See this example. You see, I put barium chloride. I added the sodium sulfate. So you see, barium and sulfate, right? They combine together. They will form your barium sulfate, which is insoluble salt. Okay, so when you pour them both together, then you will get the insoluble salt. Then after that, what you do, you filter out. Then you will get your barium sulfate here. Because this is insoluble. Then after that, you rinse with distilled water because you need to wash it first. Then dry them between the filter paper. Everybody okay with this one or not? Because the salt chapter question, nowadays they start to put into those structural question or essay, very short one. Means like it's an idea. So you just remember that insoluble, you use soluble to prepare. Use soluble to prepare. Barium chloride, barium nitrate also okay. My recommendation is use nitrate, but sometimes they'll come out the other, means the other nitrate they can use chloride, as long as soluble can. Must specify the color when formed. White precipitate for this one, okay. This one white precipitate. The color you do, later we'll go through the color. You did memorize the color as well. You need to memorize the color as well. But you get the idea first. Okay, so the idea is very simple. I draw up for you. The idea is very simple. You need to understand because the salt chapter, once you understand, everything becomes very simple. Okay, so look at this idea. Now, I has barium inside, nitrate. Then I have, let's say, sodium sulfate. Okay, this is the two solution that I have. To prepare my insoluble salt, very simple. You pour them into the big beaker. So you see this thing, you pour inside. Okay, you pour inside. After you pour inside, right? What happened here? These two, they'll go in. Then these two, you pour inside, also they'll go in. Okay, what happened here? They'll mix around, but you know that Ba and SO4 is not soluble. So they will form insoluble salt here. So this is your precipitate. But sodium nitrate soluble, so there's still free moving ion in the water. Then after that, what you do? You filter. You take this solution, you pour, you filter, then you'll get your barium sulfate. You get your barium sulfate. You need to understand this one because the K-bar question will play around in this part that soluble, insoluble, how do you prepare them? That is. So you're okay? Later, even I do the KM test, KM test, we will have this part. Okay, so you're okay with this one? Okay, so this is to prepare insoluble salt. So insoluble salt, use soluble to prepare. So then we go to the second method. The second method, right, is to prepare soluble salt. Soluble salt. Now, so you see, the idea is very simple. To prepare insoluble, we use soluble. Now, the body I want to prepare soluble, I must use insoluble because soluble and insoluble can easily separated. So what is the next thing we do is we want to prepare a soluble salt. So how do you know this is soluble salt? Because here got the nitrate SPAN, the N nitrate is soluble. So whatever things with nitrate will be soluble. So this is what we do. Insoluble is here. Soluble we use SPAN. Insoluble we use COOH. We know that oxide, carbonate, and hydroxide is not soluble. So we prepare using this part, COOH. So this is what I do. You can see how I create this one. I will pair the I will pair them with COOH with copper. So, but I got one problem on this side. If I put CuO into a solution, let's say this is a CuO, I throw them inside the water, it don't dissolve. If they don't dissolve, I won't able to get my copper 2 nitrate. Even inside got nitrate, it will be useless because as long as my copper 2 oxide don't dissolve in water, you won't able to get your copper 2 nitrate solution. In order for him to dissolve, there's only one way, which is H+, because we know acid, you see, acid can react with 4 things, okay? The acid can react with metal, metal carbonate, metal oxide, and metal hydroxide. So we're using this characteristic, right? We will use, because we know the copper oxide will dissolve in acid. So this is what we do. We'll put the acid in. Now, which acid we use? Standard, you can see from here. We will use nitric acid. Okay, we'll use nitric acid. Then we'll pair them with who? Copper. Copper CO is copper carbonate. Copper O, copper oxide. Copper OH, hydroxide. Okay, I'll pair with these 4. You can choose any one of these 4, but recommended don't choose the first one because sometimes they will have the trap acid plus metal, very dangerous, and some of them no reaction. Like example, copper, there will be no reaction. So I highly recommend you to use carbonate and oxide. These 2 is the best. Although I give you COOH, you try to use oxide and carbonate will be the best. Now, how these things works? Now I show you how this thing works. Now, first thing, you have your copper 2 oxide solid. You put into nitric acid. Okay, so the idea is very simple. Yeah, so now I got a copper 2 oxide plus nitric acid. You pour them together. Okay, so you pour them together. So here, the nitric acid. Then here is the copper 2 oxide. So you see, the H+ will able to corrode this thing. So at the end, what happens? It will dissolve. So it will come out Cu2+. Then the O and the H, right, they'll combine, become water. So at the end, you will able to get your copper 2 nitrate. But of course, it's not so simple because I need to make sure there's no more acid. So what I need to do, I will put excess copper 2 nitrate, copper 2 oxide. Because when you have excess copper 2 oxide, right, if as long as got acid direct with copper 2 oxide, so you will put excess of copper 2 oxide until there's no more acid inside. That's a very important step that you need to know. Because one of them must be excess. If the excess is nitric acid, is very hard because nitric acid soluble, copper 2 nitrate also soluble, so cannot separate. But if excess copper 2 oxide means no more nitric acid, then very simple to take out. Because we know copper 2 oxide is insoluble, we can filter out this thing. That's why you see here, I put excess copper 2 oxide. Excess copper 2 oxide. Then after that, I got extra copper 2 oxide, so I will filter out. So you can see, I will filter out the excess copper 2 oxide. So after you assess, you filter out this thing already, what is inside is copper 2 nitrate. So this copper 2 nitrate is a soluble salt, that's why it's in the water. So how do we take out? Very simple. We use the 5-step now: heat, cool, filter, rinse, and dry. So how to remember this 5-step? Last time I got teach you before. Heat is like hippo. Then cool is like can. Filter, dry, really, rinse, dangerous. Dry. So you heat first, because just imagine the salt is in the water, dissolved in water. So first thing, we need to separate the salt and water. But to separate, right, you cannot separate directly, because if dry, then maybe the salt can burn if you like totally no water. So what we do, we have a lot of water. First thing, we dry until 1/3. So it becomes what we call saturated solution. That means like maximum already. Then we let them cool down. So once you cool down, right, you see a lot of salt crystal will come up. All these salt crystal will come up. Then filter out to get the salt crystal. Then rinse a bit, because it's worried that a bit dirty, whatever, or other chemical, you just rinse a bit. Then you dry it using the filter paper. Okay, so this is the proper step that you need to know. Because solubility is most important. When prepare salt, it always squeeze into the main question to ask you. Okay, so for this part, you're okay. This one is to prepare a soluble salt. Okay, soluble salt, you okay? Then, okay, the last one. Okay, this one is prepared also soluble salt, but the soluble salt is SPA. Means they want you to prepare SPA salt. SPA salt, very simple, is sodium, potassium, ammonium. If they want you to prepare this salt, right? So any salt with sodium, potassium, ammonium, you only can use neutralization. Means what? If I want to prepare sodium chloride, only neutralization. So only acid and alkaline. Acid is with what? H, then alkaline is OH minus. So the chemical I can use here is HCl, hydrochloric acid, plus sodium hydroxide. This one, you will able to get sodium chloride, but you need to make sure there's no extra acid, no extra alkaline, because this is soluble. These two also soluble. So which one excess also cannot, because if excess, right, let's say I take away all this part, this one, you see, if I excess sodium hydroxide, both NaOH and NaCl are soluble. You cannot separate because both soluble. Like example, Ribena and Milo, if I both soluble, you dissolve it, you mix them together, you weren't able to separate the Ribena and Milo. So cannot. If you assess this one also cannot. You see, if you assess the HCl, no more sodium hydroxide, also cannot, because this one also soluble, this one also soluble, you unable to separate, just like Milo and the Ribena cannot separate. So in this case, both cannot access there. Both cannot access there. So you must make sure that these two will wreck completely. No more acid, no more alkaline. How to do this thing? Very simple. You do titration. Now, see, titration, this is what you do. This is the hydrochloric acid, so that's potassium hydroxide. So when you put your potassium hydroxide inside, Okay, when you put your potassium hydroxide inside, you put this pink color because the phenolphthalein is pink color. Then you put your nitric acid, hydrochloric acid. So you add hydrochloric acid when just nice, both of them neutral. Neutral means no more acid, no more alkaline, only left the salt. Then it will turn from pink to colorless. The moment they turn pink to colorless, you know that both finish, only salt water inside. So at this time, you record down what is the volume. Let's say you get 20 cm3. Okay, then now you repeat the experiment again. You use the same number, 20 cm3. You do the neutralization. Now without the phenolphthalein, you put 20 cm3. Although you don't see pink to colorless, but you know it's already neutral. You know it's already neutral. Because just now previous experiment, the result tell you 20 cm3 neutral. Means no more acid, no more alkaline, left only salt. Okay, so this is the brief idea of this part. So we'll go through the question, page 34. Page 34. Okay, now, so you see, in your SPM, especially essay, because as I told you that chapter 6 is one of the potential essay coming out in question 11 this year. So question 11 means the one that the essay that you cannot choose, ma'am. So they always give you diagram. They always give you diagram. So look at experiment 1. It's used to prepare what? Can you see titration? Titration, no, used to prepare which salt? Now, so this one is the method number 1, is to prepare spa salt. Okay, this one you need to analyze carefully. Now, you can see now, this one got insoluble. Solid. So it's to prepare soluble salt. As I told you, soluble use insoluble. Insoluble use soluble. So this one is to prepare soluble salt. This one is to prepare spa. This one is to prepare spa. Just here. Prepare spa salt. So you need to know the idea. This one got insolubility inside. Confirm is prepare soluble salt. Okay, so now we look at the experiment. So what is the reaction called? How many divided neutralization? The question very simple, but it is important for you to know these two methods, these 3 different methods. Okay, based on reaction 1, so what is the observation? So since you have phenolphthalein, then you add the nitric acid, hydrochloric acid into sodium hydroxide. So what is the observation? You will see it will turn from pink to colorless. This is a result that you need to know. Okay, then after that, you see, now here, what is given here is, here is 40 CnQ or hydrochloric acid, will neutralize with 40 CnQ or sodium hydroxide. So you see, the idea is very simple. You see, if I write out the equation, HCl plus sodium hydroxide, it becomes sodium chloride plus water. So now he using 40 CmQ, then it will neutralize with 40 CmQ of the sodium hydroxide. So what happened now? They change this one to sulfuric acid. So you see, sulfuric acid, it is a stronger acid. Why? Because hydrochloric acid, it only got 1 H+. Sulfuric acid is able to produce 2 H+. So in this case, can you guess the answer? In order to neutralize the sodium hydroxide, you need more acid or need less acid. This is a stronger acid. Stronger acid. You need more acid or with lesser acid. Lesser, right? So I think this one double the thing, then we will change it to 20 cm3 lah. Half enough. Okay. Today I'm more focused on teaching is because the question in SPN turned into KBAT. So it's not a traditional question in SPN anymore. So you need to really know the topics. Then after that, they'll twist around here. Okay. So next one. Okay, for experiment 2. So you try to write out the experiment 2 first. Copper 2 oxide plus sulfuric acid. So you try to write out this thing first. Or the equation need to write. So you write out first. Copper 2 oxide plus sulfuric acid. Then it will become Cu with SO4. Then H and O become H2O. Okay, just like I got explain to you, every time you put one chemical excess, what is the purpose? When you put one chemical excess, is to make sure the other chemical complete react. You still remember this thing, right? So now they ask you why you need to put the copper 2 as excess. So you explain that because I want to make sure the other chemical is complete react. Then, I mean, wish to repeat the experiment by replacing the. You see, all the question they ask is all the key question. They try to replace the copper 2 oxide with copper. Then they ask you, is it good or bad? So this one will test your reactivity series. So what is reactivity series? Kalau nak kawin, mesti ada zinc flexible supaya perempuan hasil cukup anak. So you see, hydrogen, copper, silver, hydrogen is above the copper and silver. So it won't able to react. So it's why I say when you choose, try to choose acid rare oxide or acid rare carbonate. These two is the safest one. Metals, SPN, they keep putting the what you call the trap. They always ask you to prepare copper. So whoever's write acid plus copper straight away 0. Copper won't be able to write acid. Also, copper also won't write gold. Gold is below. So you see, if you try to, how do we know it's real gold or fake gold? Very simple. This is a concentrated acid. You don't know that one is real gold or fake gold, right? You just put the gold ring into the concentrated acid. If you throw that inside, no reaction, means it's real gold. If you throw that inside, it's fake gold, it will dissolve. This is how those kedai pajak, the kedai pajak is the one that you bring your gold, then exchange some money on it. They'll use this method to test. They throw them into concentrated acid. Then if no reaction, then they take out. They know it's real gold. Okay, so this is how they actually. Hey, so far you're okay. I need to make sure this part you are good. Now, so you look at a question. Today is all the trial last year, means the what we call the trial question from state paper. You can see this is how they come up question. So like the first one, you can see this is prepare spa salt. I need you to know these three because they'll try to hide inside the question. So can you see both are soluble, both are solution. So this one is to prepare insoluble salt. Because both are solution. As told you before, insoluble, prepare insoluble. Insoluble, prepare soluble. Okay, so you need to know the idea. So for experiment 1, can you write the chemical equation? So you try to write out the chemical equation. So the chemical inside is sulfuric acid plus potassium hydroxide. So potassium hydroxide plus sulfuric acid. So what happened? The K and SO4 together. If you're not good in the memorizing the charts, it's okay. You roughly know what is happening first. She means you know how do we guess the answer is the K, the front, the positive and the negative together. So K and SO4. And then H and OH. Wait, my internet. Yeah, so you do a balancing. Okay, name the product form. So we can name this one a potassium sulfate solution. Okay, another method, another example. As I told you, the first method is to prepare spa salt. You can just give me any salt that has sodium, potassium, ammonium. Okay, so you can just give me any. So the answer is sodium, correct? Because it got sodium. You can just give me any salt that has sodium, potassium, ammonium. As I told you, the method number one is to prepare spa salt. Okay, then move on to method number two. State the name of the reaction. So prepare insoluble salt, the reaction called double decomposition reaction. Okay, then you look at copper 2 chloride and sodium carbonate. So you see I tried to write our copper 2 chloride. So Cl2 plus the sodium carbonate. It become copper 2 carbonate plus sodium chloride. You see, when these two added together, they exchange. Exchange means what? The copper with CO3. Okay. Then after that, the sodium with chloride. Then you look at from the diagram, the salt T is the insoluble salt. Then you need to ask yourself, which one is insoluble? Okay. Then go back to the shortcut again. Anything with SPA soluble, SPAN soluble, you see a sodium here. Okay, so this one will be soluble. And then you see COOH insoluble, you see a carbonate here. This is insoluble. That's why the insoluble salt will be the copper 2 carbonate. You're okay now? I will keep repeating using the shortcut so that you're able to remember which one soluble, which one is insoluble. As I told you, insoluble, you'll be a solid or precipitate. Soluble, you get a solution. How do you check? Keep checking this one. SPAN soluble, COH insoluble. Then chloride is curry, so peserta agama Hindu. SO4 is soup, peserta bahasa Cina. Okay, this one is the important basic that you have to know. Now, thereafter, we move on to the next question. Okay, move to this part. Okay, now you can see this one is to prepare a salt. You can see both are solution. So both are solution is prepared insoluble salt. You might be clear because SPM, they sure will give you questions that ask you to analyze what is the difference between these two methods. So method number one is prepare soluble salt. Method number two, prepare insoluble salt. You need to give this idea, okay? So you try to write out the chemical equation. You write the chemical equation first. Sodium carbonate and copper 2 chloride. So you try to write out sodium carbonate sodium carbonate plus copper 2 chloride, CuCl2. You need to guess which insoluble salt is produced. So we do the exchange partner first. Exchange partner means what? The Na with Cl will become NaCl. Then after that, the Cu and CO3 will be the another product. Then how do you know soluble or not? As I told you, SPAN is soluble. As long as it got sodium, it will be soluble. COOH insoluble. As long as got carbonate, will be insoluble. So they actually try to prepare copper 2 carbonate. Okay, so this is the idea. They want to prepare copper 2 carbonate because sodium soluble, then copper 2 carbonate insoluble. Okay, so this is the first idea. Then now what they're asking is, they will experiment is repeated by replacing the sodium carbonate with another solution. It is found that the insoluble salt form is the same. Identify solution P. So as I told you, to prepare insoluble salt, you need to use soluble SPAN. Okay, so you can use anything to replace sodium because they want sodium carbonate. You can use potassium or ammonium to replace. So you can use potassium carbonate or ammonium carbonate. So now you just change the sodium, the S, you change to P and A. So here the answer given, suggested answer would be potassium or ammonium carbonate. Because carbonate confirm insoluble. So there are only 3 carbonate which is soluble, which is SPA, sodium, potassium, ammonium. So this is the only choice that you have. Okay, so this is prepare salt. This is a prepare salt part. They'll mix this question into the main question. So maybe 2 marks, 3 marks from here. Short one. Okay, so we have done the prepare salt part, which is the most important one. Once you have a very good basic from here, we'll move on to heating. Okay, so every turn to the heating part, the notes there, very simple one. Now for heating, if you ask me, heating, what will come up? You turn to page 10 first. We'll go through the color first, because for heating, right, the most important is they always ask about the color of the salt. Color of the salt means, because after heat, of course, you will see some color change. Maybe blue turn green, or maybe green turn black, like this. So you need to know the color of the chemical. Okay, so we go to page 10. Now for page 10, very simple. We go for the simple one first. Now, okay, we go through first. Any salt with iron 2 will be all green color. No matter iron 2 carbonate, iron 2 chloride, iron 2 sulfate, nitrate, hydroxide, oxide is all green color. Okay, you see all green will be iron 2 in it. Okay, so because no matter iron 2 turn to what, also green color. Then iron 3, same concept, all brown color. All brown color. The rest of the chemical is white color. Okay, in most situations, our syllabus is all white color. The only one you can see in exam, they keep twisting around is the copper. Because copper, they have different color. Example, most of the copper, they are blue color. Then copper carbonate, copper chloride is green. Then copper oxide is black. So whenever you see the color keep changing from blue to green, green to black like this, then you know it's copper already. So the color you have to know, copper 2 oxide is black, then copper carbonate, copper 2 chloride is green. Okay, then the special color is the one that in the exam keep coming out. Special color. So you can see here, this is a special color that this is how I teach my students. So PBO, brown and hot, yellow and cold. How do you know? You can imagine PBO, P is for peanut. Peanut, you go to nasi lemak, eat the peanut, right? The outside is brown color. If you book out the skin outside, inside is yellow. So brown and hot, yellow and cold. You remember when hot, the color is darker. So brown is darker than yellow. You see, brown is darker than yellow. Okay. Then the next one, banana. Banana, you know, banana is the yellow, hot, white, and cold. So zinc oxide. Okay, zinc oxide. Then after that, okay, these two, some school will come out a lot. That these two, the color is not special. It's white color is yellow, PBI2 is yellow. You need to remember PBI2 is the most important one. These two, the special thing is that they not soluble in hot water. Not soluble in cold water, it will be soluble in hot water. Means what? You say, example, let's say I got, let's say inside here is PbCl. This one is PBI2. So I use yellow. When you heat both solution, when you heat it, will dissolve because they are soluble in hot water. But when you let him cool down, it will reappear. So this special characteristic always comes in exam. That whenever this happens, you know it's either PbCl or PbI2 already. How to know PbCl and PbI2? Look at the color. If white color will be PbCl2, then yellow color will be PbI2. All this very important information because in your SPM, right, the K-bar question only give you one clue. So this clue you don't know, the whole 20 marks gone. This is how they come up with question. Okay, so this is roughly about the color part. Then after that, we talk about heating. Now heating very simple in SPM, very simple one. They only heat 2 salt in the exam. Very standard one. Okay, very standard one. So first, they either heat carbonate. So when they heat carbonate, no matter who is the carbonate, zinc carbonate, Pb carbonate, magnesium carbonate, calcium carbonate, copper carbonate, they will always come out oxide. Then carbonate will come out carbon dioxide. So how do you test carbon dioxide gas? Very simple. This is always come out in exam. You bubble or flow through the gas through lime water, then the lime water will turn cloudy. This is the diagram you have to draw every time. Okay, then if they heat nitrate, same, it will come out oxide. Every come out oxide, but for nitrate, it'll be special. It will come out NO2 plus O2 gas. This is the two gas that will come out. So how do you test NO2? NO2 very special. It's a brown color gas that will turn blue litmus paper red because it's acidic, and then it got pungent smell, very smelly. Then oxygen gas standard law. You use blue litmus paper turn red. Then a brown gas come out, they turn blue litmus paper turn red. Brown gas turn blue litmus paper turn red is NO2. Then oxygen gas will be the one that you use like the glowing rinse spindle. Then it will rekindle reacted. Heating salt, very simple one. Very simple one. So we'll try one exercise here. Can you turn to page 36 again? Because let me find out. Page 38. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what the one that you need to go through. So first one, page 38, we will try. We practice the question here. So the clue they give you in heating always color. Okay. Do you still remember who is this or not? After you heat, right, it produces a product that is yellow when hot, white when cold. Do you still remember who is this? Zinc oxide, right? Zinc oxide. Because the peanut is brown when hot, when cold. This one will be zinc oxide. Okay, means after heat, you will get zinc oxide. Now, so we check here. Now I do one by one a bit. Okay, this one both come out zinc oxide. Yeah, come out zinc oxide. Okay, now look at here. Experiment 1, they heat already. It come out a gas that turn lime water cloudy. Who do you think would be this gas? Carbon dioxide, right? So means my original salt is zinc carbonate. Everybody can accept it up. Very simple and prepare. Heating salt is very direct question. Okay, but of course you give a lot of marks. Then after that we look at the number 2. Now can you see moist red blue litmus paper and glowing rinse spindle, and you see a brown gas. So you know here must be your NO2 and O2 already. Means my original salt is nitrate. That's it. Heating salt is very direct and very simple. It's either carbonate or nitrate. And very obvious. If nitrate will come out brown color gas. And carbonate very direct also because carbon dioxide confirm used to do the lime water test one. That's it. That's all. So now we try to get the 9 marks. So first one, they want chemical formula for X and Y. Okay, so now you put in the first answer first. So X and Y. So my X is the copper to zinc carbonate. My Y will be my zinc nitrate. Here you get 2 marks here. Okay, name gas P. So this is my gas P. Q is colorless gas. R is brown gas. Here 3 marks. Heating salt, whenever come in essay, it's very simple. It's 20 marks, like 3 marks. But whether you do this question or not will depends on part B. You see, your essay will have 2 part 1, part A, part B, part C at this month. So heating is the most easy one. A lot of students can answer. But whether you do this essay or not will depends on the other part A or part B, whether they know it. So part A might be prepare salt. Maybe part B maybe is KLN test. So this is the part. Okay, then they want chemical equation for suggest the reactant that produce X. This is the part. They want you to suggest a reactant that produce X. This is prepare salt. X is who? Zinc carbonate. Okay, zinc carbonate is an insoluble salt because you know anything with carbonate will be not soluble. So we need to use soluble chemical to prepare. So what do we need? We need zinc nitrate plus, maybe we put sodium carbonate. Then you'll get your zinc carbonate plus sodium nitrate. So you can see here is two solutions. You pour them together. Then you'll get your this one. So here 2 marks. Then reaction for experiment 2. So you're okay. So I said already the prepare salt you cannot skip. You cannot skip. They always implant into the question as maybe 2 marks, 3 marks it is. So if you totally don't know prepare salt, like it's like always gone 2 marks, 3 marks like this. Okay, I know that maybe 3 marks to you is nothing. You say teacher still got 97. 100 marks got 97. Okay, then after that, the equation for the last one is this one is 2 marks on the last equation. Because why? Because balance equation. So balance equation I roughly go through with you. Is zinc nitrate. If you heat it becomes zinc oxide plus NO2 plus O2. This equation is slightly harder to balance. That's why 2 marks is given. So you can see here, zinc and zinc is already balanced. Then N, I got 2 here, so I put a 2 here. But I was stuck at the oxygen side. Why? Here got 6 oxygen. Here got 1. Here got 4 oxygen. Here got 2. Total 7. 6 and 7 is not balanced. So this kind of time, I told you before, find the biggest one times 2. Always when you stuck, don't know how to balance, right? You stuck, you find the biggest one times 2 first, then you're able to do it. So 2 is the N, 2 is the M, then N times 2 is 4N, then total oxygen is 3 times 2, 6, 6 times 2 is 12. Here got 2, here got 8, here got 2, so total 12. Okay, so that's why this equation is 2 marks here. Okay, this is the prepare sort part. I will do a few questions more for the prepare plus heating first. Then after that, we'll do the combined question plus the N and CAT. Then we can end class today. CAT and N test, don't worry. It's an additional question in. Okay. So if heating okay, then we go for next one. Let me check another heating sort. Turn to page 43. Now this is one of the potential heating salt, the assay, which we can consider is a KBAT question. Because they want you to compare the difference. They want difference. They didn't ask compare contrast. Compare contrast means you need to give me similarity and differences. So they want only one differences. Okay, so turn to page 43. The differences between these two. So we will try to write out the equation first. This is the heating zinc nitrate and lead 2 carbonate. Okay, so we try to write out first zinc nitrate. And this one heating PB carbonate. Okay, the first one, as I told you, no matter which salt you heat, for the structure assay, not valid for the objective, because they have more example here. But now I focus on the assay, because if come out in assay, the last assay you have to answer. So zinc nitrate PB carbonate, whenever it hit, it always come out metal oxide. So both sides will give you oxide first. Okay, both will give you oxide. Okay, you must know this one. So both will give you oxide. Okay, the gas produced very simple one. CO3, you will come out CO2. Okay, then after that, the NO3, you give two gas, NO2, NO2. Very simple and direct question. Okay, so now you check one by one. What do they need? Observation, confirmation test, name the gas release, 10 marks. Okay, so first you have to answer. This is the observation. One side you see brown gas, colorless gas release. The other side you see colorless gas release. Because the NO2 is brown gas, O2 colors, CO2 colors. Then about the color of the chemical, this is the test, the test that we use. So this one is to test NO2. This one is to test O2. This one is to test CO2. This is the assay, potential assay. Because nowadays assay they want you to analyze quite okay, not very tough. So right now first to remember, heating salt is quite simple. Yeah. Then talk about the what we call the solid come out. What is the difference? So zinc oxide is, as I told you, brown when hot, yellow when cold. Then the PbO is yellow when hot, white when cold. Yeah, so this because they want the name, so this is the name of the gas. You need to answer according to what they want. So quite a direct question. These 2 hours will try to do a brief explanation because if you think I'm teaching too fast, it's okay, but because you can go to the YouTube and watch again. By roughly in 2 hours, try to go through the draft of the salt chapter. At least you're able to answer structured and essay question. Okay. Okay, now finishing the heating. Okay, now we go for the cat ion test and N ion test. Okay, so for cat ion test, if you ask me about in SPM, they normally come out with few sample only because the syllabus is quite complicated. So that's why they keep coming out a few example. Example, if you ask me about which one do you like to come out, normally is copper. Okay, so you remember I told you before the color can change. Copper got green, copper got green, then got black. Then what else? Got blue. So they like to come out copper. Okay. Then they also like to come out zinc. Why? Yellow when hot, white when cold. Then Which one? Another one is PB. They are flavored question. This is brown when hot, yellow when cold. These three is the frequent one in SPM. What else? PB also come out a lot. Calcium, magnesium, very rare. Then after that, Fe2 plus, Fe plus, yes, but the one very obvious. Fe2 plus, it will be green color. Fe3 plus will be brown. This one quite obvious. If we come out, I think most of you okay, because Fe2 plus is all green color. Iron 2 salt, the iron 3 salt is all brown color. The rest very rare lah. Okay, so if you finish already, now we go for the cat test and test together. So can you turn to page 13? You go through the cat test and test. Page 13. I redo the notes so that it's easier to go through. Okay, for carbonate, if you want to test carbonate, right? Very simple one, because you know that if you put acids or you heat the carbonate salt, right, it always come out carbon dioxide gas. So this carbon dioxide gas, you just go through lime water, you turn the lime water cloudy lah. So this one carbonate is quite obvious that you add acid, because acid plus carbonate, you will come out carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so this is the first idea that you have to know lah, the carbonate side. Okay, let's say example lah. Let's say I got 4 different test tube. For unknown, for unknown test tube. Okay, the potential chemical inside is carbonate, chloride, sulfate, and nitrate. Okay, this is the potential ion inside. So the first step that I do is I will put the acid first. Let's say I put nitric acid. Now, only one will react acid and produce bubble. Only one, which is carbonate. So let's say example, this one come out bubble, then we know it's carbonate already. Because only carbonate will react acid. Only carbonate will react acid. Okay, so this is the first one. How do we test? Okay, the rest, how do we test is very simple. You see, for the chloride, okay, we know that chloride who is not soluble. Okay, chloride is all soluble except Persatuan Agama Hindu, not soluble. So what I need to do now is I'm going to put in okay, as I say, you must put nitric acid first. Then after that, you put in silver nitrate. Why? Because the silver nitrate, silver meet with Cl, it become insoluble salt. It will become insoluble salt. Before that, you must put acid first. Means the nitric acid you put first, because Ag carbonate also insoluble. So the first step, we will need to put the acid to make sure inside is not carbonate, because if inside is carbonate, it will come out bubble already. Okay, so it's just an example. We talk about this 4 test tube. Confirm inside no carbonate, because this 3, it didn't come out bubble when you put nitric acid. So the nitric acid is to make sure inside no carbonate first. Then now, if you put in silver nitrate, and then it come out white precipitate here. Okay. Then we know this is chloride, because we know that Ag and Cl is not soluble. This white precipitate is what we call the AgCl. And you're okay, huh? So this why the solubility is important. You need to know the solubility first. Only we can proceed to all the different tests. Okay, so this is the AgCl. Then how do we test sulfate? We use the same method that we know that sulfate, who is not soluble, sulfate is sukma. Is Persatuan Bahasa China, not soluble. So in this case, same, we put nitric acid first, then we put barium nitrate. When come out precipitate, we know it's BaSO4, so insoluble. So this is how we test the chemical. Yeah, so we put in barium sulfate. So you see here, if you put barium nitrate, then it come out white precipitate. Confirm this is sulfate inside. Because barium and sulfate is insoluble. So I say solubility very important to understand all the different tests. Okay, now the last one, nitrate, right, very hard to test because nitrate is always soluble. It's under your spent salt. All nitrate soluble. Always soluble. So in this case, what we do is we have to use a special test. This special test, I write down here for you already. All is SO4, means all is SO4. You can memorize this one. This one is the one that keep coming out. Nitrate tests always come out in the exam. Okay, so all is SO4. Then the first two is acid. Then the middle is Fe. So the acid, why is it different? This is dilute. This is concentrated. So I written here for you already. The first two is 2 cm3. And this is few drops. Later we'll practice this question. We'll write once, at least once, for the Browning test. So very simple one. So first, you add 2 cm3 of dilute acid, followed by 2 cm3 of iron 2 sulfate. You see, 2 cm3 of dilute sulfuric acid, followed by 2 cm3 of iron 2 sulfate solution, and then shake well. Then slant the test tube. Slant the test tube. Then add few drop of concentrated sulfuric acid. After that, turn the test tube upright again, slowly. Do not shake the test tube, you will get a brown ring. Because here got a lot of procedure, that's why they always come out this part. If you shake you won't get brown ring because the brown ring is like this one. If you form, right, you shake a bit, it disappear. So that's why you cannot shake. So if you shake before it form, and you can't see the brown ring. That's why when you do this test, quite a lot of students they won't get brown ring because they actually shake before it form. Okay, so this is the one that the one that you have to know, cation test. So for anion test, very simple one, quite standard. They will come out Browning test, quite standard. So later we will write this answer once, then okay, the one. Okay. Now I want to move on to the next one, the cation test. Cation test. My exercise. We do this one first, lah. Yeah, I should we go for the tough one. Yeah. So for this one, it's like this. This one, the tough one. Okay. This one is a test to using the this one, sodium hydroxide, ammonia, and Ki. So the result I show you first. Okay, if you put copper into sodium hydroxide and ammonia, you get blue color. So this one quite obvious one. Blue color, because copper is blue, so the color will tell you is copper already. Then if you put iron 2, you get green precipitate, iron 3, brown precipitate. So for these three, quite obvious that the answer is copper, Fe, and Fe2 plus and Fe3 plus. But for here, for zinc, aluminium, Pb, calcium, and magnesium, these five, they all come out white color precipitate. So it's very hard to know which one is which one. So you need to memorize the result. So for this one, is this what is the white precipitate? Like this. See, zinc, when you put inside sodium hydroxide, right? It becomes zinc hydroxide. So zinc hydroxide is insoluble. As I told you, COOH is insoluble. That's why you see white precipitate when you put inside sodium hydroxide. Ammonia also same thing. Ammonia is alkaline, it also got OH. So technically, you get a zinc hydroxide in both here. But because it's white color, because aluminum hydroxide also white color, PB hydroxide also white color. So all this hydroxide is white color, so you cannot differentiate. So you need to memorize the result. So how do you memorize the result? It's very simple. You see, I roughly go through with you first. How this result looks like. You see, we got 5 test tube, 5 different test tube. We try to understand how this result works first. Only you try to half out it. 5 test tube. This is zinc, aluminium, PB, calcium, and magnesium. Okay, so I roughly let you understand the result first. So, okay, the first result is this. If you put, because this result divided to 2, if you put add a bit of sodium hydroxide, a bit, we start with 2 procedure. Can you see all these 5 test tube will give you white precipitate? So you're right, you see white precipitate, white precipitate, white precipitate, white precipitate, and then white precipitate. Okay, so this is the idea. When you add a bit, all will give you white precipitate. Okay, 5 test tube will give you white precipitate. Then we'll add excess, the second step. Just like you add a bit, then it come out white precipitate. Then you add excess sodium hydroxide. Add excess means you pour a lot. Then after that, what happened? This 3, it dissolve. So you see that this 3, you dissolve. Disappear. So in this case, we know that this 3 test tube is ZAP, zinc, aluminum, PB. Then this 2 test tube is calcium, magnesium. So using the result, we will know that left hand side, the 3 is zinc, aluminum, PB. Right hand side is CM. Okay, then now we'll do the second test. Now we will add ammonia. Ammonia. So what happened? Zinc will precipitate. No precipitate. The third one don't have, the calcium don't have. So you see, if you add a bit of ammonia, this is another test, another sample, you test them one more time. So you get white precipitate for all the test tube. Then only calcium don't have. But same just now, we know that right hand side is calcium and magnesium. So the one that got white precipitate will be magnesium. The one that no precipitate will be calcium. So these 2 is identified. So this one identify calcium and magnesium. Okay. Then for zinc also okay, because you see, zinc now these 3 same result. White precipitate, white precipitate, white precipitate. Still don't know which one is zinc, which one is aluminum, which one is PB. So this is what we do. We will put excess. So when you put excess, right, you can see the difference here. Zinc is the only one dissolved. So we able to identify zinc because zinc is the only one that dissolved. Then we left these 2 not yet identified. So what do we do? The next step, we put Ki. When you put Ki, PB will give you yellow precipitate. Then you realize that here nothing came out. You put Ki. Here come out yellow precipitate. Why is yellow precipitate? Because PB and I become PBI2. As I told you just now, PBI2 is yellow color and it will dissolve in hot water if you heat it. Yeah, so this is roughly the result. So we'll straight away go for question to see how do we apply in the question. Can you turn to page? You roughly, so we'll draw the what we call the table together. Then we'll try to apply it. Let me find the question first. Okay, can you turn to page 27? Page 27. I started with this one first because we need this. Okay, okay, you need to know how to draw the thing. Okay, so now we draw together. ZAPCM. Draw together. The table just now I show you. You draw together. Yeah. So you draw the ZAP and CM first. Then when you draw a few times, then can you remember the one? Okay, so you draw tick, cross, so this, tick, cross. Okay, ZAP and CM you separate first. Then you separate the Z and AP, you separate the CMM. Then you do tick cross again. Then here tick cross again. I leave some space above here because we need to fill up the precipitate color. Okay, so you draw, separate the Z and AP, ZAP and CM. Chip small. ZAP chop, then chip small. Okay, so separate the Z and AP, separate the C and M. Then you separate the A and P. Again, last one. So technically, you can see that it's quite simple to memorize because it's tick cross, tick cross, tick cross, tick cross. Everything is the same. Then the next step, you go to website. You do the www Norway, New York. Then you put the P. Then we draw a few times, then you can remember. This is the first time you draw. Then you go draw the second time in the next question until you know how to draw. Then must remember these three chemical. Okay, so first one, to identify this one, the first one quite obvious because of the blue. And then the green. Whenever it has color, very obvious the answer already. Solution A is copper. This is iron 2. Okay, we confirm these two is copper and iron 2. Okay. Then for B, we check B. B, when you put sodium hydroxide, the result is white precipitate soluble. So white precipitate soluble. So for white precipitate soluble is this one. So then at the side, white precipitate soluble is ZAP. Then the second one, white precipitate also soluble. So second one, white precipitate soluble. So we know it's zinc already. Are you okay with the B or not? How do I get B? Anyone? Cannot? We do few questions until you're okay with this. Then technically, you can go for exam already. Oh yeah, there's still a little bit more detail, but okay, one very fast one. Okay, now we check the next one. Okay, they say us to find A, B, C, E. So you put D aside first. Okay, we go for the next one. Write off all this first. We'll try to find out the E. Who is my E? White precipitate insoluble. Insoluble is cross bar, so it's C and M and E. Then white precipitate insoluble again in ammonia. So we know is magnesium. Okay, so they'll give you this clue. This is one of the important clue that you need to know in the exam. Okay, put in first, slowly. I know this short chapter is slightly tough, so now I teach all the shortcuts. Then the video you can watch again. So maybe after and before exam you watch again so that you can remember how to do the short chapter, especially this year SPM, the final essay, the question 11 essay might be chapter 8, chapter 6. Okay, then give another test to identify C. Okay, for C, iron 2, there's one test special for him. Okay, iron test is got special test for iron 2. You stay at this page. I just show you the short notes there. For the iron 2, iron 3, you can do this thing. See, iron 2, this is what you want. This is how to make your life easy. For iron 2 and iron 3, you can memorize this test for yourself. You use hexacyanoferrate. If iron 2, you use hexacyanoferrate 3. If 2, you use hexacyanoferrate 3. If to test iron 3, you use hexacyanoferrate 2. Means you double it. So this is how very easy one. You see, this is how you memorize. If I want to test Fe2+, I use potassium hexacyanoferrate 3. 2, I use 3. Then, if you want to test iron 3, you use potassium hexacyanoferrate 2. You get both will give you dark blue. Then you make your life easier. You see, you know it's dark blue precipitate come out. So to test iron 2, you use potassium hexacyanoferrate 3. 2, you use 3. To test iron 3, you use potassium hexacyanoferrate 2. Then you get dark blue precipitate. You're okay with this, isn't it? So you see here now, they ask you, how do you test iron 2? So you just write, you use hexacyanoferrate 3. 2, you use 3. Will give you dark blue. Like this, you don't need memorize it. Like, you know, confirm dark blue precipitate will come out. So 2, you use 3. 3, you use 2. To test Fe2+, you use hexacyanoferrate 3. It gives you dark blue. To test iron 3, you use hexacyanoferrate 2 to get dark blue. Like this, you don't need to memorize. Yeah, I try to squeeze in a bit like this for you. Yeah, so I have the answer first. So first thing, before you do the test, very standard one. To do a chemical test, first one, you must put 2 cm³ of sample inside, standard one. So now you put 2 cm³ of the solution C first. Standard, every time you do a test, you must put inside. It's just like example, you're doing the COVID test, right? The first step is you put 2 cm³ of your saliva inside first. You need to put the saliva, you don't put anything, then you do the test. Of course, COVID negative You don't even have your saliva inside. Yeah, then only put the chemical to test the COVID. That whatever chemical they pour in, then a few drops. Potassium hexasulfate normally you put a few drops. You look at the name, you know it's very expensive stuff already. So few drops. Very complicated stuff, expensive stuff, we put few drops only. Yeah. Okay, then we need to check the next one. Okay, D we not yet confirm. So we need to check D is who. So D when put sodium hydroxide. Okay, Ralph, all the answer here first. Later very complicated. Ralph, all this first. We focus on the D, last one. So D is white precipitate soluble. So confirm is this side. Add sodium hydroxide, white precipitate soluble. Then put ammonia, white precipitate insoluble. So it's this here. Here means A and P. Okay, so we know that it's either aluminum or Pb. So you put in here, aluminum and Pb is potential to be appear in test tube, in the solution D. Yeah, in the solution D, highly suspected is aluminum and Pb. Okay, now they will ask you to do further tests. Now to test further, we will put Ki. Because if it is Pb, it will come out yellow precipitate because PbI2 is yellow color. If aluminium, nothing will come out because aluminium I2 is soluble in water. Aluminium I3 will be soluble in water. There's no precipitate. So you can put in the tester. First, put 2 cm³ of the sample inside. Then you put Ki. If yellow precipitate is Pb. If no precipitate, is aluminum. So PBD is how we test a PB. Now. Test PB means like if I suspect inside got PB2 plus, I'll put in KI. The main thing is the iodide. What happens next? The I minus will go in, combine with PB, become insoluble. Insoluble stuff. And this yellow precipitate is a soluble in hot water. Is insoluble in cold water. But soluble in hot water. So you heat it dissolve. That's why PB they're very frequent come on in exam. Got two reasons. First, the test is very special. And then second reason is students always forget to write lead 2. They always write lead. PB got two different charge one. Got PB2 plus and PB4 plus. So you need to mention lead 2. Okay. So we practice this one few more times. Then after you pro already, we'll do the combined question. Then we can end the class today. There is quite the maximum the things that we can revise in the 2 hours time. Then after that, if you like cannot, you can watch back the video again to refresh back. Okay. The answer will be given in the you know where to download the answer. Okay, all the answer there will be inside, so you can just download it later after the seminar. Then we move on to this one. Okay, so we will try to write out the ZAPCM again together. You need to know how to draw this one. ZAPCM, thick cross, thick cross, thick cross, and thick cross. Draw this one first. Then W, Norway, New York. Then put in the sonata side, ammonia, and Ki. We don't take your time to draw this thing. Yeah, as long as you know how to draw this one, everything becomes simple. Okay, so they say this drinking water might got some toxic. You don't imagine the water come up in the river, they're not sure can drink or not. So they will try to do a qualitative test. So to make sure it's healthy drinking water, they do analysis. So this is the result come out. When you put sodium hydroxide into water until assess, white precipitate came out. So this is WP. SSO. SSO. Means this insoluble. This is the key part that they will tell you is SS. After SS, it's still got precipitate, means it's insoluble. Okay, add sodium hydroxide. White precipitate. Put until excess, still insoluble. So we know is so on the side, white precipitate insoluble is this one there. So it's C and M. So the first one we know, from the first one, we can conclude this is calcium and magnesium. Calcium and magnesium. Okay. Then the second one, we put ammonia. Okay, so you get white precipitate, also insoluble. So one of the potential ion inside will be Mg. Yeah. Then put Ki, yellow precipitate. This must be Pb. Yeah. So yeah, so when I do, I suspect this part. It means the attitude excess, they didn't mention the excess is insoluble, soluble or insoluble. Because magnesium is not magnesium ion is not harmful. So the suspected one is Pb lah. Means the result is not clear. Here didn't write soluble or insoluble here. Okay, so you want the answer for next one? To confirm the presence at lead-2, at least we know at lead-2 coming out lah. Lead-2 is inside the water. So these two means they didn't tell you as soluble or insoluble. This magnesium is like is commonly in the water. Magnesium and calcium, these two is in the seawater. So it's not to say harmful lah. Okay, then after that, they'll ask you about if you put sodium chloride. So if inside got Pb, 2 plus, if you put sodium chloride inside, we know that who is not soluble? Chloride is all soluble except Persatuan Agama Hindu. So PbCl is insoluble. So when Pb meet with Cl, what you will get that you will get a precipitate. You get a precipitate. Wait first. Why so lag one? You hold on. Yeah. Screen a bit slow. So Pb and Cl is insoluble. Then PbCl, as I told you before, PbI2 and PbCl, the special thing is when you heat, it dissolves. Then when it cold, it reappeared because it cannot dissolve in cold water. Lead is a heavy metal because the mass of Pb is 207. So heavy metal in water, if you drink, it might damage your brain. Then they ask you how do you remove our. So very obvious, they will give you the clue. You put sodium chloride, able to come out white precipitate, Then as long as you filter out the water, you will get all the Pb is become solid already. So how do you remove? Just add sodium chloride, then the white precipitate form is filtered out. So your practice. Okay, so done already. So we move on to the next one now. Okay, so this is the questions. Okay, now this is one of the sample questions that you need to know lah. As I told you, a few common one keep coming out. So can you see this one very obvious? Who is it? Because you can see blue, 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 then got black. Okay, so technically you see the blue, 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 it should be a copper already. Okay, it should be a copper already. Okay, so we know this is copper already. This is copper to oxide. It is copper to. This is one of the sample question. Okay, copper to oxide. Then we know the brown gas after heating is NO2. NO2. This is a combine everything already. Okay, so if CO2 heat already becomes CO2, CuO, NO2 and O2, the original salt must be nitrate salt. Okay, so can you help me to write out the answer for this? The first four. Okay, when the accessory is salt chapter, they're not like 100% to N11 test one. They're like a bit on prepare salt, a bit on heating salt, a bit on the cation N11 test as I mentioned just now. Yeah, so we are this four first. Oh, the equation. So you can write out the equation of the heating. So copper 2 nitrate. This one they always come up because the equation a bit hard to balance. So they always come up this heating salt equation. So CO plus NO2 plus O2. Okay, so if you try to balance Cu is really balanced. N2 here got 1 N. It's not enough. So you put a 2 here. Yeah, put a 2 here. Then after you stuck it. Why you stuck? Here got 6 oxygen. Here got 1, here got 4, here got 2, total 7. 6 and 7, you're stuck there. Why stuck? Because all got oxygen, you don't know what to do. So when you don't know what to do, you find the longest one times 2. Normally, the longest one need to times 2 when you're stuck at the equation. Okay, so you put a 2 here, then you balance one more time. So now we have 2 Cu on the left-hand side, 2 Cu on the right-hand side. Then we have N how many? N2 times 2 is 4. So here is 1 so put a 4 here. Then it's really balanced because here got 3 times 2, 6, 6 times 2 is 12. Here got 2, here got 8, here got 2, total is 12. So 12 is balanced. Although this equation quite frequent come up because the equation a bit hard to balance. Now, quite standard one, as I told you, cation test, N11 test, right? The N11 test, they always come out is Browning test. So now they want you to test the salt X. So my salt X is nitrate. They want to test the N ion. So remember, N ion is negative ion. Is negative ion. So to test nitrate, how do you test nitrate? So you need to remember the 3 chemical needle. All is SO4. This is H2SO4, H2SO4, dilute and concentrated. This is FeSO4. Okay, so the first one put 2 cm3, second one put 2 cm3, then shake first, then only put few drop. Slant the test tube. This one. Okay, so we're the first answer. First put 2 cm or sample inside first. Don't forget this thing. Then Then put the dilute sulfuric acid and then followed by iron 2 sulfate solution. Then shaken, add few drops. So adjusted the highlight first. Sulfuric acid, iron 2 sulfate, and sulfuric acid again. Here got 5 sentences, but school exam might only give you 2 marks or 3 marks. But still have to write everything. Because Browning test, normally quite high chance you won't get Browning because of maybe one of the step you make mistake, like slanted, then turn it upright, then do not shake, all this stuff. Yeah. Browning test is the highest chance because it's the it's not like chloride very simple. Like chloride we done already. Just now you still remember the river test. You just put chloride, you put PB, you'll come up precipitate. You put AG also come up precipitate, that one. In the Brown test, everybody okay? Have you done written? Essay lah. If in SPM essay, if SPM essay come out chapter 6, right, and it come out short, Browning test is one of the high chance one. It came out in SPM few times already. I think more than 8 times in 20 years past year. It's very frequent. But short so far, these 2 years new syllabus not yet come out. Maybe because it's very tough, the syllabus, so they like still like give some times for the students to adapt to the new syllabus. Okay, now as I told you, the prepare sort, they won't skip the prepare sort. How they can make it to prepare sort is like this. You see, this is my X bar. You can see in the diagram here, you can see that reaction W. Reaction W actually turn the black solid back to the X. So means they will come up questions something like this. That the black solid, which is CuO, they want to change back to copper 2 nitrate. Then they ask you to suggest a suitable chemical to change it. So it's a prepare sort. Now you see, if I want to change to copper 2 nitrate, means I want to prepare copper 2 nitrate. So it is a soluble salt. So soluble salt we use insoluble. Okay, so the normal chemical that we need to use will be, first one will be copper 2 oxide. So this one is a copper 2 oxide. We know it's copper 2 oxide. Now the other fellow, it must be nitric acid. Okay, nitric acid. Okay, then briefly, how the black solid can change. Now this is the prepare salt part, is the assay part. Okay, so do I need to write this one? I think here enough. Because I'm not doing essay for prepare short part. Okay, so you do until this part only, then we move on to the next one. Next question. Okay, so write this first. So you know how I come out the part. We're going to do the complication. Why could I put any NO3? Okay, if you put any NO3, right? Okay, so the idea is this is here. If you put NaNO3, is Na plus NO3 inside ma. But my copper 2 oxide is not soluble in water. So you put inside, nothing happens. It's just like you putting marble into water. Nothing happens. Because marble don't dissolve in water. But if you put marble into acid, it's different case of. Let's say, marble is calcium carbonate. If you put marble into acid, different case, it will dissolve. So because the acid can react with the marble, so it becomes Ca nitrate. That's the part you can able to get Ca nitrate. Same thing, Cu oxide, it don't react with water, it don't dissolve in water. So at the end, you won't get copper 2 nitrate. In order to get copper 2 nitrate, you need someone to dissolve it. So who is the one that can dissolve it is the acid, because acid can react with 4 different things. Metal, metal carbonate, metal oxide, and metal hydroxide. Try not to use the first one, because copper cannot react acid. So don't use the first one. Try to use copper oxide or copper carbonate to be safe. If you want to dissolve the metal into water, you need acid normally. Okay, so we try another question. The more question we do, then it will be better. Okay, so now this is an unknown. No, unknown. No. It's given already. It's given zinc. Well, this question quite good. I really tell you it's zinc already. Okay, very happy. Okay, can you tell me who is this? Do you remember that all the special color? Special color, yellow when hot, white when cold, is your zinc solid Q, right? So this is your zinc oxide. Okay, zinc oxide. Then this one carbon dioxide. Then you can guess for me who is solid M. After heating solid M is zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. So you can guess it. Okay, it's your zinc carbonate. Okay. Then I want to test your skill here. This is nitric acid. We do some guessing. So okay, let's say I write the proper method. Proper method is like this: zinc carbonate react with nitric acid. What will they become? Zinc with nitrate will become zinc nitrate. Okay, so this one the solution X. You see this one plus this one. So it becomes zinc nitrate solution. Then CO3 will come out CO2, standard. Then H and O will become water. Okay, you can write the equation on top to guess who is it. Slowly, it's okay, right? As long as you're able to write out. Then the next one, plus Mg. Okay, it becomes zinc and Mg nitrate. So displacement of color. Okay, okay, see what they want. They want the chemical test. So you can write lah. Bubble the gas through lime water turn cloudy, or you can like flow through the gas through lime water also can. On the right, flow also can, bubble also can. My answer will give you the diagram or not? This diagram. Got it. Yeah, they draw. This is one of the important diagram you need to know. Yeah, it's the highest chance coming out in your exam. They're going to ask you to draw in this exam. Just draw. These are important. You just draw once first. Yeah. So you need this one, the what do you call this in here? Retort stand. You need a retort stand. Clamp it. So you need to draw this one. Okay. Then they ask you if you add the ammonia, what will happen? So zinc add ammonia, white precipitate soluble. Quite simple one. The diagram you need to draw. One of the higher chance diagram coming out in your chapter 6 is this one. They ask you to draw this one. So chemical equation for reaction 2. I've written there. Then name reaction displacement. Yeah, so this is all the answer. The rest of the answer I will give you in the there's a place for you to download all the answer for all the seminar for all the subjects. So you can download the answer there. Okay, so today until here, so you can rest 1 hour first before go for the next physics class. Okay, so I'll see you next time. Bye bye.